Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of using the whole chicken, where we will be working on some stock. So yesterday I butchered up 4 whole chickens and took their bones and threw them in the roaster here, along with some celery, carrots, carrot tops, garlic, and onions, and roasted them for about an hour and a half before taking a bunch of water and pouring that on top until everything was submerged. At that point, I just went ahead and put it on low, around 200 to 25, and have left it on the counter here for about 24 hours. And we're getting to the end of the process here, so I'm going to go ahead and add my aromatics. If you guys have fresh herbs, that's totally fine. You can add those. It's not really the season. It's still very late February, so I don't have a lot of fresh herbs on hand. So I'm going to go ahead and use some dried herbs, which include peppercorns, bay leaves, fennel, thyme, oregano, and some rosemary. And I like to do that just because I feel like it keeps their flavors more present in the stock. If you put them in way back 24 hours ago, they just become muddled and they don't taste as good. So I like to add them a little bit later just so that their flavor profiles enhance the stock a lot more. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'll bring you a little bit closer and we'll move on to the next thing. So as you can see, it is very, very lightly simmering. You don't want to boil it too hard. That tends to give you a cloudy stock. So I want to try and keep my stock nice and clear so it looks beautiful in the jars. So I keep it on a fairly low simmer, just barely bubbling, and that seems to do the trick. So we're gonna go ahead and add several bay leaves, probably the last that's in the jar here. And we'll refill that from the cupboard. Some fennel. And I've never used fennel in this before, but I really like fennel, so I thought I would give it a try and see how it turned out. A couple peppercorns. The rosemary. And oregano. And I don't think I have any thyme right now, so that'll be that. I'll just give it a good stir, and then we're going to leave it for another hour to 2 hours or so before we strain everything off. So it's been about another hour, and we're going to go ahead and strain all of the stuff out of our broth into this large plastic bin, and then this will probably go out into my garage overnight so that all of the fat can rise to the top and make it a lot easier to get all of the fat off before we can up our stock. Now this will go outside into the garage and the fat will rise to the top and solidify a little bit so that I can get it off tomorrow very easily. Hey guys, it has been a few days and a haircut later, and we are back working on our broth and our chicken base. We're going to get them canned up today. First thing I need to do is to skim off the fat from the top of this. You really don't want a bunch of fat in your canning stuff because it will interrupt your seal if it gets along the rim while it's being pressure canning. So we're going to get that off, and then we will get this heated up on the stove and work on our chopping up some vegetables to go for our chicken base. This is kind of why I like to leave it outside or in the fridge to cool down, because all of the fat kind of solidifies and you can just kind of skim it off the top and it all comes off kind of in one clump, and it's nice and easy to get rid of. And my fat is fairly green because I had quite a few carrot tops in there. I have noticed that if I put those in there, or if I put a lot of green stuff, it obviously leaches some of that color into the fat. Nothing wrong with it. With all the fat gone now, we are going to go ahead and transfer this into a large pot and get it on the stove and start warming it up. Next thing we're going to work on is getting our jars ready. We're going to get our canner out, get our jars into it, and get them warming up. And then we're going to chop up some vegetables to go into our chicken soup base jars. And this recipe won't make a full canner load of the chicken base, basically, because all I have is this chicken that I picked off the bones. But it'll make 3 or 4 of them, and they can just go in with the broth at the same time and be canned all at the same time. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just a good way to use up these little scraps if you don't make a chicken salad out of them. I have some carrots, celery, onion, and garlic here that I'm going to go ahead and chop up. Once they're all chopped up, I will put them into a pan along with this chicken that I saved from the carcasses, and we're going to heat everything so that it's all hot and ready to go when we are ready to start canning. So my veggies and chicken are all heated through. I'm going to go ahead and take them off the stove here. And then I'm going to go ahead and move my broth, which is in the back corner here, right next to my board to make things easy. And we're ready to can. My jars are all hot. And we're going to be filling them up about halfway with the mixture of chicken and vegetables. And we'll see how many we get out of it. So it looks like we're going to get 4 of our chicken soup base, and I'm leaving about 1 inch of head space. So I'm just wiping the rim with some white vinegar to make sure I don't have anything that would interrupt my seal. And then I have fresh lids and bands that I will put on to fingertip tight. And these are going straight into my canner. For the rest of these, I'm just going to fill them up with straight broth and we'll can them like that. a steady stream of steam come out of here, as well as my little button here popping. I will wait 10 minutes before putting on my little weight, and then we will be pressure canning at 11 pounds of pressure for an hour and 30 minutes. And I also have a little leftover broth here, and I will probably just put this aside and use this sometime this week. I'll either maybe boil some rice and use it to flavor that, or make a soup out of it.
Oh my Lord.
I left my jars to cool overnight. It's the next morning now. I've checked all of their seals and they are all good to go. So I'm just going to take off their little ring bands and wipe them down before putting them into my pantry downstairs. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys learned something new today about using the whole chicken, or how easy it can be to use all of those different parts and get some really amazing things out of it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.